Hey lovelies, and welcome to this week's video. Thank you for joining me. We are going to carry on with our intuition theme this week, and we're going to be talking about using a pendulum. So you may or may not have used one of these before, or you may have seen them and wondered how you use them, or might think they just look really pretty, which they do. I have a few of these in my collection because they are just lovely, and you can get some very ornate looking ones as well. But really, all you need to do to use a pendulum is you can use a crystal one, or you can fashion anything into a pendulum. When I was younger and as a teenager and I used a pendulum, I would just put a ring on a necklace and just use that. So you can fashion anything to be your pendulum. But generally speaking, it's great if it's something that you've held on to or tuned into. So me using one of my rings was worked quite well because obviously that was something that was on me all the time and obviously carried a lot of my energy. So when it comes to using a crystal pendulum, it's the same premise as using a crystal, about being tuned in with it. So spend some time playing with it, holding with it, and connecting with it, so that it can read your energy. So why use a pendulum? Now, a pendulum can be used to answer questions. It can be used to see where there's energy imbalances in the body. I use them in my crystal healing sessions. I use two different pendulums actually during my crystal healing sessions and I run them over each chakra in turn, and we see which chakras are maybe overactive, underactive, and we kind of work energy in and out using a pendulum. That's something I will probably go into on a different video, because what I want to talk about today with pendulums is using them to answer questions and using them with your own intuition. And as with anything intuition based, this is going to take practice. It may not work for you straight away. That's okay. It's just that muscle that needs flexing and takes practice. So don't give up on it straight away if it doesn't quite work out. So the best way to use a pendulum is to just set very simple answers like yes, no, don't know, or maybe. Or if you want to, you can just use yes or no, because then it takes away that kind of ambiguity of don't know and maybe. But usually those four options are what are used, and then you ask questions that can be answered in that way. So you can't take something that's a bit too open to use with a pendulum, and particularly when you're first starting out, maybe just using yes or no is just a nice simple way of doing it. So there's four recognizable motions that your pendulum may make. So it may, I'll swing it for you, I'll make it move at the moment to show you the directions. So hopefully you can make them out okay on the screen there. So we have a backwards and forwards motion, and it may also make a side to side motion like this. Another motion it may do is clockwise motion, and opposite to that it may do an anti-clockwise, counterclockwise motion. So before you begin, particularly when you're first starting out using pendulums, you need to ask your pendulum what each direction means, and this is something that's going to read from your energy. So you can't just take, if somebody else has used a pendulum and their yes was the backwards and forwards motion, doesn't necessarily mean it will be your yes. So set those boundaries with your pendulum first of all. Before you ask any questions, you need to just determine what your pendulum is going to say. Now don't worry if it's spinning, but you want to obviously try and get it as still as possible. Now this is going to be a crystal or an object on a chain, something that you're particularly close to, so it's tuned into your energy. And then you can just take a deep breath if you want to, and just focus on the pendulum and just ask it simply, which is the direction for yes? So my pendulum started to move backwards and forwards for yes. So then I'm going to stop it again, and I'm going to ask What is the direction for no? What is the direction for no? It started to move side to side. So I know, and I've known this anyway, because for as long as I've used pendulums, my yes is always backwards and forwards, and side to side is always no. I don't often use don't know maybe if I'm asking a question, because if I'm asking the pendulum a question, I want an answer. And I want a yes or no answer. So the only time that you may want to add in those is if the pendulum genuinely can't answer it, it will just stay still. Something that you will start to kind of learn from practice. Maybe ask some practice questions that you know the answer to as well. So just kind of get that kind of thought process going and that intuition going. And then you'll get to know that if it's just staying still because it can't answer the question, or if you're just not tuning in. And you can also exhaust your pendulum if you're asking too many questions one after the other. It gets tired, the energy just gets a bit too clouded and a bit too thick, and it's a good time to just take a break and go back to it maybe the following day, or if a good few hours later, just give it a break. I'd probably say anywhere between 3 and 5 questions is probably enough in one session, because then not only does the pendulum start to get clouded, but then your thought process might do as well with the answers that you're getting, and what you're trying. And if you're trying to ask it too many questions, you can just get a little bit fuzzy and a little bit clouded. So try not to ask too much in one go, and before you start, have a clear focus on what it is that you want to have an answer on. And if it's not the answer that you want, it's not ideal, but think about it for a while. If you're getting an answer and you ask again and you get the same answer, and you ask again, oops, sorry, I've just knocked my camera, and then you ask again and it's still the same answer, then it's pretty conclusive that is the answer. Regardless if it's the one that you want or not, that is it. So that sometimes that isn't very nice, sometimes when it's not the answer we want, but it's something to go away and reflect on and to think about, because the answers that you're getting, whether it's tuning into your higher level energy, whether it's your spirit guides, or whoever it is that you feel like you are asking these questions to, it wants the best for you. This energy, wherever it's coming from, is in your own best interests. It's not trying to upset you. It's just trying to tell you the truth. So try not to get too upset with it, even if it's not the answer that you want. And go away and do a little bit of reflection, and maybe you'll think of other things that you might want to ask off the back of that as well. So I hope that you're going to give this a try. Like I say, I've been using pendulums for many, many years now, and I think it's a great way to kind of sometimes clear your mind, clear your thoughts, and just get an answer that you want from that. And it's a very simple way to do it. It's a very personal way to do it as well. And if you feel a bit silly saying things out loud, then say it in your mind. That's okay too. Just ask the questions in your mind, and set those directions about what way is yes and which way is no. And you may also, depending on how often you're going to use this as well, because there are a lot of different pendulums out there, lots of different crystals. It doesn't really matter what crystal you're using to just ask these general questions. From a healing perspective, when I use crystals to detect energy movement in the chakras and to help infuse energy in chakras, then different crystals do come in, are a lot more relevant and a lot more necessary. But if you're just looking for it to just be your pendulum to ask questions, then don't worry too much about what the crystal is. It's just more important that it's one that you're drawn to and that you connect with. Again, it's the same as if you're choosing any crystal. It's the best way to do it is through touch, if you're able to. If not, it's just one that you keep being drawn to, and the one that you're going to make a connection with, because that's the one you're going to get the clearest answers out of, and you're going to be able to build a really good energetic relationship with that pendulum. So as I said, I do use this for healing purposes, but that's a different video where I can, which I am going to do. I am going to do a video and show you how you can use your pendulum not only for questions but also to identify where you may have some energy imbalances. So that will be out later this month. So if you want to make sure that you're not going to miss that, then just click subscribe to the channel. Every subscribe, like, comment, share really helps me out. So any of those that you can do would be very much appreciated. And I hope that you get out there and you try your pendulums, whether it be crystal or something on a chain or just anything that can hang that's personal to you and you can ask questions will work just fine. You don't have to go out and get a purpose-made pendulum like this if you're not able to straight away. You can fashion one yourself. So get asking those questions, get flexing that intuition muscle. Same as when you've been working with crystals and cards before, it can be really helpful to note your questions and the answers down in a journal. And it helps you to maybe see trends or see what was said last week, or just remind yourself of what you've asked before. And just get flexing that intuition. It's the only way it's going to get stronger is if you keep exercising it and keep asking those questions. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're going to have some fun with your pendulums. Do let me know in the comments below if you've used a pendulum before and how you found it. And it's always great to hear from you. And in the meantime, if you want to see some more crystal videos, then take a look at the playlist I've booked up here, which is all of my crystal videos. And as I said, to not miss those videos, click subscribe up in this corner here on this icon, and you won't miss the coming intuition videos this month and more about using pendulums as well. So until next time, take care, have a look at the links in the description below to see what else I've got going on, and I will see you soon. Bye.